What commonly regarded good advice from women is actually terrible advice. I love seeing the TikToks where somebody interviews a girl and asks for dating advice, and after they say some boilerplate advice, the interviewer is like, "But would that work on you?" A close female friend of mine told me I should try to meet girls at the gym. I said, "Do you like when guys try to chat with you when you're working out?" And she said, "No lol." When they give dating advice speaking as though all other women are just like them and actors thought their likes and dislikes are the same. Do so and so act and you'll melt her heart. Plus some suggest going overboard in my experience. A female friend was telling me to buy my current GF a bunch of gifts such as the makeup, expensive perfume, etc. For our first date, a female friend was telling me to buy my current GF a bunch of gifts such as the makeup, expensive perfume, etc. For our first date, the Rajesh Kuthrapali approach. Definitely not super weird. Anecdotally, a guy I know brought a girl he'd taken on 2 dates an anatomically correct quartz heart to signify that she'd stolen his heart. It took 6 people about 2 hours to talk him down from what an abhorrently awful idea that was. Don't post shirtless pics on your dating profiles. It's an immediate swipe left. I met this dude that had dating profiles down to a ref formula without the shirtless pic, and yes, it was a bathroom mirror pic. Basically 0 matches. With the shirtless pic, a ref deluge of attention. The best advice I got from a woman was a vast majority of women don't know what they want, but they want it now. The good old you just have to wait for love and it will come to you by itself eventually. This coming from all sorts of sources, but mainly media really fucked my perception of relationships. I was so depressed for so long because I was convinced I was never going to just one day happen across the one. If he liked you, he well-known female friend was telling another friend that if the guy she was dating was interested, he'd join us all for drinks, regardless of what he's doing. If he's at work, if he's been on his feet all day, if he's visiting his parents, or having drinks with other friends etc. Like no matter the situation, he'd drop everything to come and have a drink. Just felt really juvenile and overly demanding. Haha, that's wild. I always took that advice as if he likes you, he'll make it clear that he does. But your example indicates she uses it as a way of controlling him and is pretty toxic. The worst she can say is no. Who has entered the chat? I remember back in college I was walking past 2 girls at the bar. Now I wasn't paying them any attention. At most I glanced over at them. The one girl looked at me as I shuffled by, crowded bar, and said "ooh," then her friend nodded in agreement. In all fairness, I was just dancing. I was a mess. I didn't ever go back to the bars after that incident in college. I understand you can be repulsed by someone, but keep it to yourself, especially if he's not even trying to approach you. Just be yourself. Have you ever met myself? Edit/swal I'm thankful for the advice, this was a joke. You just have to have the right Tinder bio. Reality, you just have to have the right Tinder photo. Famous programmer on designing GUIs. Users cannot read. And if they could read, they wouldn't do it anyway. F-lol. I'm pretty sure someone posted the crux of the issue in the past. The last time this was asked, women give dating advice that could/would be useful when you're already in a relationship or the girl already likes you. They struggle to give information around how to get a girl to like you to begin with, or how to approach. Because generally speaking, they rarely have to perform that when looking for dates. Plus, very few people are honest with what works on them. TL. Doctor, women's advice can be useful if you're at the point where you're dating, or the girl likes you. Won't be super helpful before that. Women don't have to consider being creepy. I've heard women seriously suggest hitting on women at Target. I then asked them if they thought it would be creepy if a guy came up to them at Target. Real light bulb moment for them. The biggest issue with listening to women's advice when it comes to dating, before it becomes official, is that majority of their advices are based on and come from a place where it actually makes an already existing romantic relationship better. Their advices rarely ever work in actually creating interest or spark where there isn't any. Like they will imagine all the ways their existing past future boyfriend husband can make them happy, but those ideas should be reserved after they become official and would rarely ever work before that stage. Majority of men women don't know what they actually want. Any and all sex advice. There are women who like rough sex. There are women who dislike having their clit stimulated directly. There are women who love anal sex. There are women totally into one night stands. Not everybody likes the same stuff as you. The only good sex advice is ask your partner what they like. I haven't slept with a single woman that didn't like rough sex. Most of them love that shit. The worst relationship advice is from single women. Not just on Reddit, but my wife's friends are the same. These women who couldn't hold their own relationships together are trying to interfere with a happy working one. They were trying to get her to make me drain our savings for some big holiday that we couldn't afford or really wanted to go. Always bothers me when my partner takes relationship advice from her friends whose love life is a complete mess. Yup, if your house is a mess, I'm not taking a single cleaning tip from you. If you've crashed every car you've ever driven, I'm staying away from you for anything car related. She wondered why I had hair ties in a drawer. Are they for the other girls? How long is my hair? Oh, also, they're yours to use too if you want, but next time think before you accuse. Lol. I sometimes let my hair grow long, but other times cut it short. I wonder if those are for when I have long hair. Will fly as an explanation from when I had. Might work better, especially JF you can all up a Pickwick. Happy wife happy life is why our divorce rates are through the roof. Any woman who unironically believes that is showing you the red flag to abort the mission. It completely marginalizes the man's desires in a relationship. This is a good one, not good advice. I see a lot of guys going for that advice because they don't want to deal with the consequences. I wouldn't want to live my life that way. It's a coping mechanism for when you feel trapped by your responsibilities. In effect, you're placating the jailer of your prison. Funny you mention the tampons. I have a box left over from a previous emergency with a girl who is now long gone. On my way to the store in the middle of the night, I told myself I would be stocking up so this doesn't happen again. I have gone through a few girlfriends since that time, but never needed one. Now I have the dilemma of whether I should keep them. As far as I know, they don't expire. So why not? As a compromise, I keep them out of sight, so a guest is unlikely to stumble across them. I can only hope the relief of being able to help in an emergency outweighs the suspicion of having an open box of tampons in my bathroom. There's no harm in keeping one around. The proper way a woman seeing a box of pads/tampons should respond is by having a conversation with you about them. Oh, it's just a considerate thing you keep around for you mom/sisters/girl buddies? No big deal. If they can't have a conversation and bringing up and speak with you about such a no big deal topic gives you a huge signal that you're going to have larger issues in the relationship in regards to communicating needs and desires. What makes their lady parts tingle and what they're actually attracted to are completely different things. Let's just be friends. My friends don't get jealous when I show interest in another woman. Sorry you had to deal with that. I hope you cut her out of your life. Any woman who manipulates a man like that is selfish and borderline demented. The desperate need for attention that so many women feel entitled to these days is bewildering. But you're supposed to keep trying to win me over so that one day I might think of you as more than a friend. Wow. I guess you really don't care. Typical guy. This type of behavior is a major red flag. Run away, no matter how good looking she may be. When it comes to dating, the focus on making friends part and not focus on dating. I've followed that advice to the point where I'm now mid-30s and have never really dated. There's a really frustrating way that women tend to give advice that is hard to put my finger on. For example, dating advice from women is virtually always geared towards a hypothetical world that they wish existed, but doesn't actually exist here. The advice is purely a wish list of things that some women would like to be true about the world, but is completely useless when put into practice. I think men's lib might be the worst about this. I've seen a lot of stuff from women posting there about how you don't need to initiate a relationship as a man. plenty of women initiate, and feminism makes women more confident initiating, when that is a view that is completely disconnected from the real world. Women very rarely make the first move in dating, even on platforms designed to have women make the first move. Their first move is to give you the all clear to make the first move. Same with stuff about affirmative consent, reading women's dating advice. You'd think that's something most women like when that is absolutely, unequivocally not true. Most women will find asking for verbal consent at every step of sex kinda weird in the best case scenario, and a complete turn off at worst. Most women respond way better to just reading body language cues and just diving right in. I put a hoodie in my Jeep BC, my wife is always cold. That's now my girlfriend's hoodie and it never gets worn. WTF. Just tell me. I promise I won't ever bring it up again. Doesn't matter what it is. She will bring it up again. Frequently. Not only will she bring it up again to you, she'll also bring it up to all of her friends. Sisters especially. Some of them still won't talk to me, and she'd been dead 16 years. She may have embellished. She liked it when they felt sorry for her. Women won't argue with a man who's cleaning up the house. Yes, they will. If a woman wants to argue, she's going to argue. There are so many ways to clean wrong. I'm gonna have to go with the classic example. The woman that sleeps with athletes and rock stars and then tells you to just be yourself. Don't be yourself. Be Jason Momoa. He's much better. People don't usually give advice that people need to hear. They give the advice that they want to be heard saying. That last sentence is Reddit in a nutshell. You should get therapy. Ah yes. Because therapy is a magic room where people go in broken and come out completely fixed. Especially in the ways that inconvenience others. Reddit's therapy obsession is annoying. It's not that therapy is bad, it's good actually, but people treat it like symptomatic relief for their own inconvenience, and not the development of coping strategies for serious problems. I would say most women's dating advice. The experience of women is so vastly different as to be completely useless. And each person has vastly different likes and dislikes, so what one person likes might be someone else's like. That is such a weird thing to suggest. Women are both capable of carrying their own supplies, but also have specific preferences. The chances that there's going to be a sanitary pad emergency in your apartment during a first/second date is so very small. And the blowback is obvious. Definitely keep your bathroom absolutely spotless, though. Anything that has anything to do with astrology. Lot of people mentioning be yourself. My female friends tell me that the gist of this advice is to not put on a new persona for your dates. Don't be into everything she's into. Don't be suddenly into wine and poetry or beer and country music. If those aren't your thing, sure. Maybe you'll get laid once or twice if you make a convincing show of being the guy you think she wants. But more likely you're going to creep her out or put yourself in a position to either lie incessantly or be forced to walk it back. If you're a video and tabletop game nerd, be that. Be you. But be the most well dressed, good smelling, personable version of yourself that you can be. Everyone's putting their best foot forward on dates. But do make sure it's still you that she's meeting. A lot of the sex advice from female columnists and things like Cosmopolitan is straight up garbage. Nibble on his erect pee to spice up blowjobs. Bitch. Do not bite my D or you may get involuntarily kicked. Not a threat. A warning.